All right, guys, before we start today's episode, I've got a couple upcoming dates that I want to plug. Make sure you come out and see me. I would really appreciate it. I'm much better at comedy than I am at podcasting. So, for the rest of the year, every Wednesday night at 10 a.m. or 10 p.m., my bad, every Wednesday night at 10 p.m., I'll be doing the Comedy Bingo Night at Smasham's Burger Bar in St. Louis. It's on Morgan Ford Road. Come out and see us, except for Christmas, which is on a Wednesday. And if you're like, well, I don't have anything to do on Wednesday, I don't have a family, I don't know what to tell you. We're never alone when we're with Jesus. So other than that, I have a show on the 14th in Quinlan, Missouri. On the 19th, I will be at Steve's Hot Dogs here in St. Louis for the 12 Comics of Christmas. I've got... In January, on the 10th, I will be headlining a show with my buddy Kyle Allen. Sorry, Kyle, messed that up. On the 17th, I will be doing the Stand-Up Downtown Showcase at the Crack Fox here in St. Louis. On the 24th of January, I will be headlining a showcase with my buddy Nick Farner at his little venue. And then on the 26th, 2 days later, I'll be doing the Best of the Midwest showcase at the St. Louis Funny Bone. So there's going to be some other dates coming in and out. They always pop up last minute, so make sure you follow along so you don't miss anything. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Best Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Russler. Joining me this week is my good buddy, Joe Tillman. He's been on the podcast before. He's always a good time. He's always a good hang. And so I like to get him in here as much as I can. Go and check him out online. He plugs his social media. He also co-runs the Stan's Comedy Chaos open mic on Tuesday nights. So make sure you head over to Stan's and check him out there. And he's got a couple shows coming up as well. So make sure you follow Joe and enjoy the episode. Oh, real quick, do you want to plug your social media?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at JoeMeTheWay, and recently made a YouTube page. It is Joe Tillman 819.
Nice. You do some Twitch stuff as well?
Nothing on Twitch.
Nothing on Twitch?
Nothing on Twitch. I've just been taking clips from my video games now because YouTube wants you to do that algorithm thing where you post something every day. So,
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to post one short a day now of different clips from video games where I did something that I think is cool. And I think the best comment I've gotten so far is, "Bro, you fucking suck. Why are you playing this game?"
Welcome to the internet, my friend. Welcome. We've been expecting you. It's every day I deal with comments that are terrible.
Dude, when you did this
but
segment,
it's just whatever. It's like, okay, sorry for trying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This
is what I have to do. I want to do stand up.
Yeah.
And I get to do stand up. Quite a bit. I get to do. I'm very, very lucky. I'm very happy that I get booked as much as I do, and it's starting to be able to make sense that I get to do these shows. But I want to do more, and I want more people to come see me. So if I have to get on the internet every day, 60 seconds at a time, and just go like that. And then people want to come see me be funny, then fine. All right, I'll do that. It's just, it makes you feel like a crazy person sometimes because you're just throwing like content at the wall it's like a handful of rocks, trying to knock down a building. And one day, one rock
is all it's going to take.
And then you have this back catalog of just
the fucking
stuff.
Hawk Tua girl had 30 seconds and had never been on the internet before, and now she's one of the most famous people in America. It literally just takes one.
It just takes one. And I don't follow her. I obviously know about the clip, whatever. but I don't hate her. Like
No.
I don't hate on her. Like
No.
she did it.
From
Congrats.
everything I've seen that she's used her quote-unquote 15 minutes of fame for, she seems to be a pretty decent person, honestly.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know anything. I mean, I'm again, I don't follow her. I don't know.
No.
I know she has a podcast now. Cool, whatever. You know, do your thing. But I hate the just constant negativity of like, oh well, this person is stupid because they did this, and it's like, all right, well, sorry,
Yeah.
they're trying.
to
You
any-
know,
to
they took
anybody
a
who
shot.
calls the Hawk Tuah girl stupid, that woman made me laugh for a solid month. Every
Yeah.
time. Every time it would pop up, it was just uncontrollable.
I would
giggles.
argue that it was one of the better meme templates
Oh my god.
of this year.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them that are trash, but yeah, she gave it was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny. That was it. That was the video of the summer. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Go prosper. I don't know.
Yeah. You earned it, kid.
But speaking of negative comments and stuff like that, I have heard the voice of the people, and things will be changing. You are one of the last podcast guests probably on this furniture, and
Do they not like the couches?
we're gonna have a little set rearrangement.
Huh.
Yeah, I've heard it from several people. The whole idea was that I was like, I'm gonna be sitting down for a long time with people. I want comfy furniture, and I want arms wide enough that can hold microphones and like drinks and stuff like that. Patio furniture. And then I was like, well, since I'm on patio furniture, let me make it look like I'm outside, you know? Plus, I would rather be outside because all of my favorite conversations I've ever had have been outside. But, all right, we're going to switch it up. We're going to try something different. And I'll probably still keep the outside stuff for a while.
The outside's
but,
still a vibe.
The furniture is going to rearrange. I just don't know. It's all about. So I'm going to have to hire a U-Haul to come and get it and then take it home. And since I live 2 hours from here, it's like, okay, logistically, how am I going to make this work and what day can I do it? And then I've been looking at a couple new ideas for some stuff. I don't want to do just a table.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. All of my favorite podcasts are just like guys sitting around a table. But I don't want to just be another, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Well,
want to
and
try
like
something
you
different.
also don't want to go in the entirely opposite direction and then just have a bunch of weird kitschy Euro shit in here that looks neat but is
just a
super
chair shaped like
uncomfortable.
lips.
Exactly.
And like somebody is sitting in like a teardrop that hangs from the drop ceiling. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good on that. But also, I don't know. I do appreciate, at first when people were like, were hating on the furniture or whatever, I was like, yeah, you guys just don't understand. And now I'm just like, oh, okay, well, let's try something else, you know?
Well, and you're making do with the space you got too, which
Yeah,
is
yeah. All right. Actually, let's get into some comments. I started doing this recently, reading off some comments from
the one last week where the person was just like obese.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fucking
That's
had me.
one of my all-time favorite comments I've ever gotten. It was the first comment I ever got on an actual like clip or anything like that, and it made me so excited because I was like, oh, someone's watching, and then I pulled it up and obese. I was like,
Obese. I had one.
but that's another reason why the furniture's changing is that I don't care. But a lot of people have been like, I don't like the way I look on camera because of the furniture. And I'm like, okay,
Well,
I understand. We'll change it up. So anyway, this is from Instagram, and it was a clip of Bree Munich. We were talking about dumpster diving, and somebody said, I just know that entire room has a smell, in all caps. Which... maybe I'm nose blind to it, but I don't think it smells that bad in here.
It
I
just
don't
smells like a corporate office building in here.
know. Okay, thank you. All right. That's not the best smell, but it is.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I'm in a corporate office building. Yeah,
it smells clean in here.
Yeah, that's another thing when people are like, dude, iron your backdrops. I'm like, why? Does it... Will that make you think I'm outside?
Yeah,
Will that make it more believable?
Are you going to
for
suddenly believe this is not a fucking
Are you sad that I'm not actually outdoors it's 2 degrees outside today. I'm not. This is from TikTok at Jamal the Cashier. That's my buddy Jamal Gardner from Murray, Kentucky. I was going to say he's a famous comic, but he is a hilarious comic. We've worked together since I first started. Yeah, he's been on the podcast before. And
hell yeah.
Anyway, he said chorizo is fire, though, no matter what it's made out of. Yeah, because Tommy Dangerfield and I had a conversation about, you know chorizo, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's like, where is it from? And it's like, it could be the mouth.
Could be the anus.
Could be the, could be, And I couldn't agree more. Chorizo is my absolute favorite.
It's delicious.
It's so good. It makes
eat
everything.
It for dinner, you'll have weird dreams, but like,
yeah, I'd be skeptical. I mean, I'd give it a sniff before I tried it, But most of it's pretty good. When we were on base, there was this burrito stand called Ramon's, and it was just a little taco truck, just tiny, and it was so good. But you could get a California burrito. It was just steak, cheese, French fries, like sour cream or whatever, and then you get them to throw in chorizo and Valentina sauce, and they were so good. Oh my gosh, it was so good.
La Velasana on Cherokee used to have the best chorizo in St. Louis.
Oh yeah?
You'd get a chorizo torta. Oh my God. I haven't been there since COVID, because during COVID they went a la carte, and nope.
Yeah.
Nope. If I'm not sitting down at a restaurant, I might as well just go to a drive-through. Like,
exactly.
Flavor.
This is what. Yeah. We were talking about what the best Gatorade flavor is with Taji. At the Big Ladle said, my first reaction to the actual name was, "What are you, a narc?" Like, no one says the names of Gatorade flavors, which I will say, I don't ever call the flavor. I call the color. But I have also, there's tons of people out there that I got that reaction from probably 55 people, all like, if you say the name, you're a cop, like that. And I don't doubt it. I mean, it's kind of a red flag, but at the same time, if I wanted a specific flavor, I would ask for that flavor. So
we've also got to address something here, because I've heard a lot of misinformation on this podcast about the original flavor of Gatorade. It's lemon lime.
No, dude. Is that the original flavor?
Yeah, that's the original flavor of Gatorade.
I thought it was orange,
which is
because
reasonable.
They're orange,
Gators, but they're also green.
I know, but it's also like, I don't know. But lemon lime is yellow, so that doesn't fit in the argument. Whatever. Okay, all right. I surrender. You all win. At Slightly Ghoulish, green apple is on top and deserves more respect. I put that comment in there because I didn't even know green apple was a flavor. I've never had that before.
I don't know who you are, but stay away from me with that one.
Slightly Ghoulish. The one I couldn't get over is when people were like, it's cucumber lime, and I was like, really?
That also sounds vomit-inducing.
So I've had it before. They changed it. When the original, I don't know what they did differently to it, but the original was like almost more cucumber flavored, I guess. And now it's kind of more sweet. But it used to be like surprisingly refreshing, and now it's garbage. But the people that like the new cucumber lime flavor, no, I don't know what you're doing. It's no thank you.
Cucumber lime, like, it doesn't sound necessarily terrible, but cucumber's just not something that I want in everything,
Yeah, I don't want. I get a little annoyed like when when you like go into a building and they have like free water in the lobby.
Yeah.
If there's stuff floating in it, like oranges, limes, whatever, I'm like,
Yeah, that's not water anymore.
don't do that. Don't assume that everybody wants lime. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just have water.
Yeah.
Just water. Everyone on Earth likes water. Okay. Not everybody likes cucumbers. Not everybody wants cinnamon sticks and cherries floating in their like I don't want your debris in my water. Okay, like just give me a water. The only acceptable thing to put in there is ice because it's just more water. All right,
and cold is the best flavor of water. Like,
there are times where I don't want cold water. Like on a day like today when it's freezing outside, I can't think of anything worse than like an ice water. But if you brought me like a room temperature 65, 70-degree water
on a day like today.
Oh boy, I would chug it so fast. That just sounds like it made my mouth water just thinking about it.
Yeah, I could see that.
I don't know. It's just because never hot water. The only time I will accept hot water is if it's coffee.
Or it's going into tea or something like that.
Even then, it's got to be a great tea. You know
That's
what
fair.
I'm saying? Because like I want want iced tea, and I understand people are like, "Oh, you're gonna brew the tea. That's how you make tea." Yeah, I get it, but I want to brew the tea, let it sit. Once it's cold, put it on ice. Yeah, let's go. And dump sugar in there. Yeehaw, baby.
And I'm like the polar opposite of that, where like I don't care how cold it is. I want my water cold. Like,
yeah,
I bought a bottle of water today at the hospital with Julie while we were doing the baby appointment stuff. And by the time we got out of the
congratulations,
hospital,
by the way.
And by the time we got out of the hospital, the water was warm. So before I came here, I just rolled down the window of my car in front of my house and I left it in the cup holder.
That's smart.
Yeah,
that's smart. I don't hate that. It is always fun this time of year to like, oh, by the way, thank you. Joe brought me ground deer meat and summer sausage.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, do you want to put this in the freezer?" And I felt it and it's frozen. And I'm like, I think it's still good. I think we can probably just keep it in the cooler. And then after this, it's so cold out today and my car's outside. I might just put it in the car. Like,
dude, I forgot some of it overnight earlier this week in my car when it was like getting down below 30. And I went out to my car the next morning and I was like, fuck, I forgot it out there. And I opened up my door and I opened up the cooler. I'm like, it's all going to be ruined. And it was still frozen solid.
Yeah. So.
Oh, man.
Okay. Okay. This one. I was talking about, it was when Bree and Chris and everybody came on, right? And we were talking about how, like, when nowadays with like the spread of information and stuff, you kind of find out, no matter, I don't like getting political, but it's like America isn't exactly the shining example of good that we thought it was when we were kids. You know, like, I would argue still the best country. Like, I don't want to live anywhere else. Yeah. So grateful to live here. I love America, rah, 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 right?
Yeah.
But also, we could all admit there's problems.
Yeah.
We've...
No, we're not perfect.
And we've made some mistakes, you know? We've made many, many, many mistakes. But it's like...
Afghanistan in the 80s.
Well... Dude,
Afghanistan now. What am I saying?
Yeah, dude. Like, we could just go down the list of countries that it's like, and now it's because all this information is coming out, and you're like, oh, you know, it's just like, oh, okay, maybe we're not as a shining star as we thought we were, and it makes me sad. And I was talking about how, like, growing up, you know, joining the military was like, that's the... Like, everybody was like, oh, well, you're, you know, like, it was like, I remember dudes that hated, like, when I was in high school, I knew, like, there was always those friends that, like, hated, you know, the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, and they were like, oh, it's so stupid, blah, 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 and then we graduated, and they found out I was going in the Marines, and they were like, hey, but, like, thank you for your service, man, like, for real, like, I don't know if you guys should be there, but, like, also, like, I
Yeah.
really respect what you're doing, you know? And you're like, so it's like everybody kind of felt that.
Yeah, there's still
And-
that level of respect for it now.
And now we're getting out of that, and you're looking back and you're like, oh man, was it the right thing to do? Like, or we're like, you know, do I need to feel bad or whatever?
Depends on why you joined.
And
like,
yeah, I guess so. I just thought it was, I don't know. I don't want to get into it too much, but
I will say this to that comment. When you grew up, information was not as free as it is now. They told you what to think. Bro, if you don't think everything you watch on the internet is designed to tell you what to think,
well, it's all,
You're not
yeah, exactly.
thinking.
It's all
Like-
designed. But at the same time, I think what this person is saying, it's at Mandredan
Mandredan.
9227.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, first of all, thanks for commenting. I think what he or she is trying to say is that, like, we had the internet, but it wasn't a trusted source.
No.
Everybody still went to NBC, CBS, ABC. You know, the
Yeah.
main Fox, CNN, whatever.
If
You went to the
if
main.
you were a fucking nerd, you went to the library.
Well,
Like-
but the library isn't up to date on current events as
No.
quick as the internet is, you know. But when you found information on the internet, people were like, "You don't believe everything you read on the you know."
internet, yeah.
And now you gotta like, you don't believe everything you see on the mainstream news.
Mainstream
You know,
media,
like it's all you know, and
Yeah, you can look at anything
I just feel
on TV and get 3 different stories of the same story.
maybe.
Yeah, where like the internet, you can just Google what happened in this place, and you're probably going to find 15 sources, and you'll be able to get something out of all of them if you read them all.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you're able to. I don't know. I understand what he's saying, but also I just want to point out I'm not that old, man. All right, I had the internet. Like
Yeah.
I was a
You were in high
kid. I'm
school,
from the
right?
'90s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm not.
you
I'm
were in
not
high school
that
and in the
old.
Marines, like at peak internet times, dude.
Yeah. 2010 to 2016. So yeah, I was there. And then of course the greatest comment of all time from
Obese.
from YouTube at user 24639 obese. I appreciate it. That's still the best comment I've ever received. Maybe somebody else can beat it here in the next couple weeks.
It's so good.
It was just so funny. Although I will point out that one comment on here, and I don't put it up because it's not about me, and I don't like. By the way, if you're watching this, you can attack me all day long. It does. I laugh at it. It makes me happy. But I'm not going to read a comment off if you attack one of the guests and are like too mean about it. You know what I mean? Like if you're a little jab, that's fine. But like if you're super mean to one of the guests, I'm not reading your comment because that's not why I invite people here. Just it is what it is. You know what I mean? Like I want people to have a good time, and I don't know. I don't want to promote that, but I will read off things if it's said like in jest. Just getting that out of the way. Anyway, man, what was I gonna? There's something I wanted to tell you, but let's get into it. Best strategy game between tic-tac-toe, chess, and checkers.
Chess.
Really? Okay.
Yes.
The Game of Kings.
Game of Kings, and not even for its military battle strategy or anything, but just because chess is a game where you can just use your eyes, and I've had it happen to me. I'm dog shit at chess, but like you can use your eyes and bully someone into making bad moves in chess just by like looking at them, looking at their piece, being like,
Yeah, they go to reach for something. You're like, no, don't do that one.
no, don't do that one. No.
So it's kind of like that poker aspect
Yeah,
to it, where you can just talk someone out of.
Yeah, talk someone out of beating you.
You're right. That is cool. I do like that aspect of it, and I like that it's the Game of Kings. I said with Chris Sear that I wonder. I'm not saying that this happened for sure because people saw a
Yeah,
clip.
if they
and,
were ever just like playing with each other and like I beat you.
I
here.
wonder if two kings ever sat down and were like, "Well, clearly we both want this land.
Yeah.
Play me in chess. If you beat me, you get it. If I beat you, I get it. You know, because it's like it is a strategy game. My argument is tic-tac-toe. Tic-tac-toe, I believe, is a better strategy game because everyone can play it. You don't have to be, you know, the reason they played chess, like elite people played chess, is because you had to be like taught strategies, and it's for leading troops. And
there's entire named strategies to it, like the Queen's Gambit.
The Queen's Gambit, the Sicilian defense, you know, there's a million different strategies and openings and hundreds of thousands of moves and calculations and all kinds of stuff. Tic-tac-toe is very simple, but it is a very it's still a thinking man's game. Yeah, it's just a simple thinking man's game, you know?
That's kind of how Connect 4 is too. My wife won't play with me anymore.
Because you're devious?
Well, I just so do you have that thing on your phone? Do you ever play with your kids or your wife, Game Owl, where it's just like Battleship, Tic-Tac-Toe, Connect 4, and you just like play over text? So like when she and I are going to the movies or when we're going to restaurants, like all we play is Battleship because she whoops my ass about 50% of the time. That's really just like luck and can she figure out the patterning in my placement because there's always a pattern. But with Connect 4, I just lead her in one direction and then let her make the counter. And while I was leading her in one direction, I was setting up another 3 on the other side of the board.
Oh, you fell into the classic Tillman deception, huh? I just like that. I just like the idea of you, like, you're getting into it. You're like, you've got your own strategies and playbooks for Connect 4. Like,
it's so dumb, dude. And that's the thing, like, when it comes to children's games, like, especially now that I'm going to have a kid, I want to believe that when it comes to like playing video games on like a rainy weekend with my kid, like Mario Kart, you know, the family games you would play with a child. I want to believe I'm going to be a good enough parent to let them win so that they want to keep playing. But I know I'm shades of my father. And the reason I would never play games with my dad is because he would beat me so terribly at them that I would just like be like, okay, well, I don't need to play this with him anymore.
You come for the king, you best not miss. No, I do like that. I really like the idea of you having play a strategy for your Connect 4. Like instead of the Sicilian defense, it's just like the French retreat or something like that. And you're like, aha, you fell into my trap.
I'm like Hannibal in Carthage. I just fake a retreat and envelop them, you know?
Yeah. You mean like the end of The Patriot when Mel Gibson did that? He came up with that, not Napoleon. Anyway, no. If my wife was trying to figure out my strategy in Battleship, she would just guess in the shape of boobs or whatever, and she would hit all of my boats.
I think the best strategy board game of all time, though, is probably Axis and Allies.
I don't think I ever played it.
It's like Risk on crack.
Okay.
It's so fun, but you need like 4 hours to play a proper game.
I keep hearing about this game Go.
I've heard a lot about Go.
I don't know anything about, but apparently it is like people are saying it's the ultimate level whatever strategy. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. That's why I didn't include it on the list, and I couldn't find a picture of it. Because you type in Go and then like images.
Yeah,
it's just like green lights and stuff like that. And you're like, okay, well, whatever.
We had one thing we did in college when I was doing my history degree, and we had an entire class that was like a history of the Fourth Crusade, and the class was just a giant game of Crusade themed D&D that the professor had made, and the winner who won like the most fame for themselves by the end of the game didn't have to take the final exam. And on the last day, I was 30 minutes late for work because everybody was taking time to brag about all they'd accomplished. And I just whipped out 5 contracts that I had written. And I was like, hey, by the way, I did this, and this. That deal for them that got them all those points, I brokered it. I was the one who got all these relics back to the Pope. And the professor's like, is that real? And then 4 of my buddies were like, yeah, no, we signed them. And he was like, Tillman, you don't have to take the exam. And I was like, sweet, I'm late for work. And I walked out.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
If you can't tell, dude, I didn't get laid until my 20s.
Nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Sometimes that's. I was gonna say something and then I immediately thought, oh, my kids might be listening, and I'm like, that's Good for you. Good. That's exactly how it should be. All right, the next slide I got is best TV hospital. They don't. I was trying to find a list of like the hospital names.
Yeah.
But this is basically just flyers from shows like ER, Grey's Anatomy, Nip Tuck, City of Angels, Scrubs, House.
Best one to be in. Scrubs.
Oh, Sacred Heart.
Sacred Heart.
100%.
Hands down.
100%.
I've heard from all of my friends who work in the medical profession that Scrubs is the most realistic doctor television show ever made. I can tell you, just looking at that list, the worst two you could possibly find yourself in, hands down, House and Grey's Anatomy.
Even in House, I'd feel fine because I'm like, he's going to figure it out. Yeah. At the last minute, he's going to figure, I'll be okay. I have probably the worst disease known to man, but I'm going to be okay. If you're in Grey's Anatomy, I don't know what it's called. They're in Seattle. I don't know what the hospital's called. You're dead.
Yeah,
you're dead.
It could be a normal Tuesday, and there's just going to be a bomb in you.
There's a bomb in you. The bridge is going to collapse on your way to work. There's going to be a mass shooter in the hospital. Like, Grey's Anatomy might be. I literally had this conversation with someone last night, Smash'ems, that if they make another season, it should just be like illegal. Like it's absolutely insane. There's no difference between that and like General Hospital anymore.
Right.
As ridiculous as the plot and stories go, the number of times there have been just plane crashes and just it's just the dumbest stuff, and the everyone dies. Everyone, like 90% of the patients die. Yeah, because the doctors are all trying to have sex with each other. Like, can you imagine being like you wake up and they're like, oh, what happened? Like, the bridge collapsed on your way to work. You've broken 2 legs, an arm, and 6 ribs, and you're like, oh no. And then all of a sudden, these 2 doctors are like
we shouldn't be doing this in a patient's room.
And you're like, hey guys. Maybe not here. Hello?
Hey, guys, why is my stomach purple and distended?
I can't, I can't change. My bedpan can't get changed because there's 2 doctors making out in the hallway. Like, it was the worst show of all time. And I can't.
I'll give bones to that.
Okay. All right. There we go. There we go.
What up?
I hate it. I hate it so much. And every time I hear, new season of Grey's Anatomy is coming, I'm like, Yeah, exactly. Just insanity. It drives me nuts. I don't know why. Man, that really hit a nerve. I wasn't expecting that.
Totally
but
fine. Okay, what do you think is the best ending to a medical show you've ever seen, though?
Well, it's Scrubs. The Scrubs finale, but I say that, but then they brought it back and tried to do like
they tried to revive it,
spin off, and it's like no. Let it die.
Was great.
It was perfect. The ending of Scrubs, the final episode when JD's like walking out like that, it's perfect. It is. I mean, there's great. Then they brought it back, of course, because they do that to everything.
I think the ending of House was pretty fucking solid. Where, and you know what? No, I'm not even gonna give a spoiler warning. At this point, House is like 15 years old. If you haven't seen the end of it, this is on you. When Wilson's got cancer and has to quit his job, and House is faced with the prospect of losing the 2 things he loves the most in the world, his career and his best friend, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to go with my best friend and ride motorcycles.
Well, let's face it, he could come back after.
After Wilson's gone, he can still come back.
Yeah, it's not like he's going to not be House after Wilson's dead. He's still going to
walk
back in and be like, hey guys, guess
House.
what? So Wilson's dead. I'm available. And then we're like, well, are you still the greatest doctor who's ever lived?
In the world?
Yes, I guess. Okay, well, you can have your job back. That's an easy choice, honestly. You're like, hey, I'm not quitting. I'm just pausing for 6 months? From what I remember, Wilson was...
The episode where he's just super rude to a patient for no reason. You're like, well, I mean, that's not out of character, but he's being extra spicy this time. And then he just goes out of nowhere. He's like, I'm assuming there's nothing actually wrong with me, and you're just going to sue me for malpractice. So here's some Vicodin and get out of my office.
That's pretty good. I liked House a lot. I was really intrigued by it because I heard it. Well, they said when it first started that it was a spinoff of Sherlock Holmes.
Really?
Yeah, because House, Holmes, Wilson, Watson.
Makes sense.
Like he's a detective that figures out clues
what's wrong with people
that no one else can see and stuff like that. He's addicted to opium. He's it's all the connections between Sherlock Holmes and stuff.
Wait,
which
Sherlock Holmes was an opium addict?
Yeah, that's like a main theme throughout most of the books, all of the movies.
I'll be 100% honest. I've never read the books. And I guess I was just too young and dumb to notice Robert Downey Jr. on opium in the movies.
Yeah, they even say it in the movie. Well, with Robert Downey Jr., I know there's a scene where Watson walks in and Robert Downey Jr.'s all like eccentric and he's made a jungle in his apartment or whatever.
And he's like made the first camouflage suit.
And stuff like that. And Watson's like picking something up and he reads a bottle. He goes, "This is made for eye surgery," like that.
Shit,
and Robert Downey Jr. is just like just takes it. But that's a main theme, and I believe in the books. I don't have any specific details, but I know that it's a reoccurring thing. I don't know if it was opium, but I think it was definitely he was addicted to some type of drug.
Sedative.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe now I have to go back and read the books.
Yeah, it's pretty. I love things like that. I love a hero that has a major flaw, and like Watson is a gambling addict. So like they're both kind of addicts, and that's why they're
buddies.
Yeah, that's why it kind of works, and they like try to keep each other away from their vices and
accountability buddies.
Yeah, exactly. Best medieval torture method, or what medieval torture method could you survive the best? We've got, this is basically the iron coffin where it has the spikes on the inside.
Who's the sadist that came up with this one?
This slide?
Was this Sam Vining?
No, this was me. This was me. This is what happens when the sun goes down. Yeah. This is Eric in the evening. This is like the human rotisserie wheel or whatever. Then you've got the bowl, the brass bowl that they would light a fire under, and you were trapped inside and you basically just get cooked alive. And then we've got this chair with like 1,000 needles on it, which I would argue is basically just how Brooks Brothers got started, or Brookstone got started.
Oh, really?
You know what I mean? Like this was the first sharper image. It was like
literally
the massage
the
chair. People like laid down and they were like, okay. Like acupuncture chair.
I think based on physics, that one is probably the most survivable for someone in good shape. Because as long as it's not being pressed down on top of them and they're being laid out on it.
Yeah. Your weight would distribute
evenly enough that you're not going to get stabbed by
I mean, I would argue that as a chair, that's not possible. But I don't like your low back, your butt, and like the back of your
that's
thighs.
A chair?
That's what it looks like to me.
Those
look like armrests right there. So I'm saying
terrible. Never mind.
Yeah, I'm sure it would be horrible. I think the sarcophagus with the spikes on the inside. I think if you were a skinny fella,
man.
I think you'd be okay. So long as you
Matilda
didn't,
from,
the pokey,
yeah.
Which that's crazy that was in that movie, and no one said anything.
No.
You know what I mean? They were like, "Oh, well, if you're bad here, you go into the pokey," and it's like, "What's the pokey?" They're like, "Oh, it's a closet filled with knives pointing inward." Like,
so if you try
and nobody thought like, "Hey." Yeah. This might not be okay for kids.
Maybe we should call child services.
That movie is just full of. I mean,
what's the one, the rack, like the table that just like stretches you?
That stretches you out.
I saw a meme and I stand by it. There's got to be like about a minute and a half on that thing where you feel the best you've ever felt in your life.
That's what Chris said last week, and I agree. I think it. I mean, that's the first thing I do every morning. Is I literally stand up and stretch like as tall as I possibly can, and then I'll like lay down and do it, and I stretch like out this way as much as possible just to get my like wake everything up, and it feels amazing.
Every time I walk my dog through the park in our neighborhood, I stop at the pull-up bars and just hang for a second, and it's so nice.
It's awesome, isn't it? Yeah. Especially with my low back, like I don't have like any disc left pretty much in my low back.
So are you fused?
No, all right. The doctor said after my last surgery, the doctor said that's probably the next step, and that it's coming. You know what I mean? Kind of like in a way, like the older I get, the worse it's going to be, and so I'm trying to just put it off, as much as possible. And what I really need to do is I need to lose weight, but
I'm right there with you.
I mean, that's honestly what would probably help the most. But I'm trying to just stretch. And the thing is, man, like I get in this mode where when I start working out, I get so locked in.
Oh yeah.
Other things like fall to the side. And then like the last I went through like a real dark depression from 2017, 18, probably into 2019. I don't remember exactly.
That's where you'll get your best gains.
Yeah. Well, then when I snapped out of it, I was like laser focused on getting fit. I lost 80 pounds in 3 months and like just, like I cut myself to like 500 calories a day. And I was like traveling up here to do mics, and then I would drive back home and then wake up. So I'd get home at like midnight or 1 a.m. and then wake up at like 5 and go work out and stuff like that. And it was just like I was like just literally killing myself trying to get healthy.
Yeah.
And so then finally it caught up with me, and I just like broke
wipes
down.
You out for like 3 months. I just finished 75 hard, and it's doing the same thing to me. I've been off of it for a month, and like I'm still in that delusional state with myself where it's like, I'm going to be able to get up at 4 a.m. again. No, you're not, buddy.
Well, the whole thing is the reason I don't want to get back into it is because I don't want to ignite that part of my brain again. Because I don't know how to, obviously moderation is not my strongest asset. You know, and it was like, why get one burger when you could get 3 burgers, or like whatever. And so that's what I do when I do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to figure out like what is a healthy way to be like, hey, a little bit of food, a little bit of working out, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, like moderation. That's what I want to learn in my next year. I'll be 35, and I really hope that starting January I can be like, all right, best case scenario, I'm halfway done, Maybe moderation is the time.
The thing we learn.
Yeah, we start it now, and then hopefully we can add to the back end.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Get 10 more years down
exactly,
the line.
because if I keep going the way I'm going, halfway done is generous. So it's like, all right, let's dial it back a little bit. Let's start to, and it's so annoying because I know it. In my brain, I know it. But you lie to yourself.
Oh yeah.
You just like the things you say every night that like, and you believe it 100%. You're like, well, dude, you haven't eaten all day.
Yeah.
You should get a little something extra. Like
this is like
hold you.
You were good today. You deserve this triple cheeseburger from Smash'ems. Like
which it's
I
hard.
got a double last week. That was the lie I told myself.
Yeah. Well, the standard burger is a double, and
is it
but
really?
They're smash burgers. So see, but they're real thin. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like it's not like a super
thought the
thick
double
patty.
was just a single. Or was
no,
just
if you get any of
singles.
The double is the two patties.
Okay.
But they're smash patties, so they're real thin.
Yeah.
Whatever. But that's the lie I tell myself is like, well, they're real thin.
Yeah.
And I want the protein. You know what I mean? And you say it for the protein, but you're eating the bun and the sauce and the fries and which they're all fantastic, by the way. Shout out Smash'ems.
Shout out Smash'ems. It's one of the best burgers I've ever had.
I would say arguably the best burger in the city. The wings. Have you had the wings?
I've not had the
wings. The wings are so good. They're like fat too.
I saw they're proper wings, like what you used to get 10 years ago before shrinkflation.
Right.
Like,
and oh man, it was so good.
Yeah, dude. Smash'ems brings out my inner fat boy every time I go. And that's like part of why last night I was like, I'm going to go. And then I was like, no, because if I go there, I'm just going to eat bad.
Yeah, see, that's the smart thing. That's you winning over the little voice. So I need to silence the little voice. But I was gonna say that on this torture wheel right here, for those of you that are just listening, it's a giant wheel that someone's strapped to, and they're like cranking it, and it's at the bottom.
It's
it
a
goes,
picture from the Spanish Inquisition.
It's actually, it's actually a picture of Saint Lawrence.
Really?
Yeah, Saint Lawrence, who was he was put on this wheel and roasted to death, and he is the patron saint of comedians because this is true. This is all very true. This is directly
Because if we
this
all
is
quit doing
directly
comedy,
from
we'd
my
kill
wife.
ourselves.
So if you disagree with this, you need to contact Mrs. Rustler, okay? But I guarantee you she has studied more about Catholic history than just about
I
anyone
trust her
outside the
entirely.
actual clergy, okay? But St. Lawrence, he was getting roasted alive, right? Mm-hmm. Patron saint of comedians, because right before he died, he said, "Flip me over, this side's done." Right?
That's
Perfect.
amazing.
Perfect. I mean, what a line to go out on. You know what I mean? So, yeah, shout out. She bought me, actually she did. She bought me, I've got a little St. Lawrence pennant.
Oh, that's dope. I like the Celtic cross there, too.
Thanks.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So that's my favorite story. And I know this. Okay, so the brass bull doesn't really fit in the medieval timeline because if you're not familiar, it's from
It's like Roman timeline, right?
ancient Greeks.
Greeks.
Whatever. The guy who invented it, actually, they used it on him later, like years later. But basically, it was a giant brass bull that's hollow, and they lock someone inside, and then they light a fire underneath it, and you just
get roasted.
You just roast alive while inside the bull, and the smoke comes out the nostrils and like the screams and stuff like that.
This is gonna sound fucked up, right? But I have to imagine doing a pig in that thing.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing
so
wrong.
Amazing.
There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, I would use it for food. I wouldn't use it for humans. It's basically it's a Traeger for...
Yeah, it's a Traeger for people.
It's a Traeger for traders. Yeah. That's so funny. That's the original Greek diner. Is like they're just roasting. Yeah.
Hey, where are we going this week? We're going to the Brass Bull, dude.
Yeah, let's go down to the Brass Bull.
I heard they got some Corinthians this week. And they're pretty tasty.
Corinthians. I haven't had Corinthians since June. No, the one that I think that I honestly could do the best on was I saw this during the Spanish Inquisition. It was like a giant wheel, but it was like a stair stepper, and they would like chain people to it and have you just walk, and eventually, you give out, and then you like fall into a pit or something like that, yeah, right. It's. Yeah,
you rucked for years.
I was saying from military hiking, I know that I could go internal and just
be like, if I stop, I die.
Yeah, just plodding along. You know what I mean?
Eric's there 2 weeks later, just still walking.
Still walking.
Like, why haven't you died yet?
They're like, you can get off now, and I'm like,
Clearly, God wants this one.
Yeah. No, I'm just a donkey. So, like, they used to just strap things to my back and then be like, go. And I'd be like, okay.
I tell my wife all the time. I tell my wife all the time, I'm just a big, dumb animal. Give me heavy things and let me move them for you.
Yeah. When I was in the Marines, there's this thing called Mule Packers course where they take you into the mountains and they give you, like, a donkey and you learn how to, like strap weight to it, and then you guide it through this mountain path and stuff like that. And I ended up not getting to do it, but I was going to go when they were signing people. I was picked out of the platoon to go, and they said they picked me because they were like, yeah, but if you're the donkey, who's going to lead you? Like, so yeah, I don't know. I thought that was... I would prefer the treadmill.
Yeah, the wheel treadmill.
All right, best on-screen death. Right now, I've got a picture of Artrax, the horse.
It's from Neverending Story.
The Iron Giant, and G-Baby from Hardball. Did you see?
I didn't see Hardball.
You haven't seen that? Okay, Keanu Reeves is the coach. And man, I'm sorry I just spoiled that for you, but...
That's fine.
Gut-wrenching, dude.
Really?
gut-wrenching scene. One of the first, it came out when I was a kid, and one of the first like on-screen deaths that I was like, what? Like
Oh,
it,
man.
it breaks you. I don't know. And then, are you familiar with the other two?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I was just about to say
If you don't have trauma from watching Neverending Story, I got a question.
the horse scene. Yeah.
I've got a question if you're an American, honestly.
Well, are you a human?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
like-
If that horse going through the swamp of sadness and it just gives up.
Yeah.
He's like, you gotta try, you stupid horse. And
You
you're
gotta
like,
try. You can't leave me. Please don't give up. And it's like, and you're just like, oh, kid, this isn't supposed to be a happy sequence.
Yeah.
Like,
I took this photo right here of the horse and the kid pulling him during COVID. I made a meme out of it, and I said that I was the kid and the horse was my comedy career because it was just like trying to pull it out of like yeah, like there's just a global pandemic. No one can do anything. No one's buying tickets. I can't get on stage anywhere. Like I was like, please try, you stupid horse, like that.
honorable mention not on this one. I know you think I'm about to say the guys from Black Hawk Down. It's a hard way to go out.
I will say, yes.
But Private Jackson from Saving Private Ryan, because it's just so unexpected. Like you see it coming.
Yes, and
But-
I like deaths like that. I like
Yeah.
that. He was the sniper in the bell tower,
Yeah.
and then he got blown up by the tank.
Yeah, he's praying while he's taking shots at these Germans, and he sees the tank pulling up, but he also understands that if he leaves his position, it's over for everybody else in the town. And his last words aren't even "get out." He yells to his spotter. He goes, "Parker, get out!
Get
And then
down, boom. Yeah,
yeah, but no, I think of these three for sure, it's the Iron Giant.
yeah.
Because-
okay.
It's the self-sacrifice aspect of it, where the Iron Giant understands that if he doesn't do something, the one person he's ever loved and who's ever loved him is going to die. And he pokes the kid in the chest and he says, "I'll be right here." And then he just
I
bolts.
thought that was E.T.
I could have sworn. No, you're right. It was E.T. His last words are,
The Iron Giant. He's smushing the kid into the concrete. I'll be right here. The kid's
Yeah.
rib cage is just exploding. It's just like
Yeah,
it's
no.
like a grape you step on. Like I'll be right here.
You're right. No, it's the other way. It's a different one. He
That'd
takes a finger under the kid's chin and he says, "You stay." And then as he's
Yeah,
flying into
okay.
space, he's hearing the kid saying, "What do you want to be?" And he goes, "I am Superman."
Yeah, and he does the pose or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Top tier.
fantastic film.
Top tier. I wish I could describe. I want to talk about G Baby from Hardball, but
I'll just have to watch it.
you have to watch it, and I'm so sorry I spoiled it for you. But
It's
it's
okay.
just like it's one of those like, okay, all right, okay.
Not many movies at that time, because that looks like it's from the 90s. Not many movies at that time had the balls to just kill a kid.
Especially when you see the movie and you see G Baby, yeah, you're.
It was the what was the movie with wasn't Pay It Forward with Haley Joel Osment. Oh shit, this left ear just turned on.
Yeah?
Clay, I'm not trying to steal any valor from you, but I think I finally understand what it's like to live in your shoes for a little bit.
Yeah. Shout out Clay Beiersdorfer. Yeah.
Haley Joel Osment has like hepatitis or AIDS in the movie.
Yeah.
And the final scene in the movie is his friend who's kind of a trickster because they've been pranking the nurses all day, just like he's not breathing, and then his friend leaves and he comes back in and he's actually not breathing, and that was like a hard thing to stomach
I
as a kid.
forgot about that. Yeah.
Because it goes from like so lighthearted and playful to just all of a sudden real.
Who was it that wasn't there somebody else who dies in that movie? Didn't somebody get shot or something like that?
Maybe
There was no. I think I might be confusing
It's the same kid who you're thinking gets shot. Fuck, what was his name? He was in Terminator too, wasn't he?
Oh well, at the end of American History X, the kid who played John Connor in the second Terminator.
Yeah, he gets got.
He gets got. It's so funny because it's like, I mean,
that movie's
so like
potent.
say Monday morning, super racist kid.
Yeah.
Then overnight becomes like realizes, oh, this was the error of my ways, and I'm a different person, and I'm gonna start life fresh, and then goes to school, and it's like,
Blow! His brother finally accomplishes what he set out to do after getting home from prison, which is saving him from the lifestyle he lived. And as the kid's about to turn the corner, just
yeah. Which I think it would be more interesting to see what then happens to Edward Norton's character after that.
Does he go
Does
back?
he revert back to his old ways, or does he realize, like, does it solidify his change?
American History XI?
American History 6? Yeah, man, that was a tough one. I think I was talking about this with Chris Sear, but Patch Adams. I think there's a scene where, like, he's the doctor that can cure, he uses laughter for medicine and stuff like that, which is a good premise, but not necessarily like
good medical advice.
Yeah. But anyway, I think there's a scene where his girlfriend, fiance, wife, whatever, who's like a nurse, gets like stabbed by a crazy person or whatever, and I think she ends up dying. And I can't remember the specifics of it, but I remember there's something in that movie that I was like,
I'll tell you what deleted scene would have made that movie a different movie at that point.
What?
He stands over and he goes, "What you doing there, pincushion?" She starts laughing and she's fine.
Yeah. He makes her laugh. She bleeds out faster because she's like, "Stop, that's really funny." But like, yeah. Did you see 1917?
It's on my watch list for this week, actually, because I'm off work tomorrow too.
Then I'm not gonna say anything about it.
No, I know which one you're talking about. It's the one, because I've seen the clips. So basically what happens to me, because I don't have a lot of time to just like watch Netflix, like if I'm not at work, I'm doing stuff around the house or I'm doing comedy.
You watch them on 3 times speed?
No, I watch YouTube reels while I'm taking a shit. And then things get recommended to me. It's been great for my television watching. I started watching Supernatural this week because of it. But you're talking about the one where his partner, like they're in the fight with the German, and then his partner gets shot trying to save him.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, shot in the stomach, and then they just kind of look at each other and they're like, ah.
And then on top of having to stop the attack to save his own brother, he has to deliver the message that his buddy died to his buddy's brother. And then I've seen the payoff on that, and it's fucking brutal, dude. Like, it's just so sad.
Yeah,
I've heard I've heard from all of my friends who've seen it, it's a cinematic masterpiece.
I love it because it's like one long continuous take. Yeah, and there's cuts.
I
believe there's like 3 hard cuts in the whole movie.
Yeah,
but the rest is like
all one.
And there's
shot.
camera tricks, where like the character passes in front of a pillar or passes behind a pillar or whatever, or someone walks in between him and the maker, and like you cut there and pick it up. You just time it. But it's beautiful, and also I loved the realism of it, and I just can't I don't want to get into details because I don't want to spoil it.
I've seen
watch
most of
the
it in
movie,
YouTube
Tillman.
I've probably seen most of it in YouTube Reels at this point. That's like I actually have rewatched The Hateful Eight in YouTube Reels in the last 6 months or so.
I get so mad. The Hateful Eight I enjoyed, right? But then as soon as I got done watching it, it was like, would you like to watch the Hateful Eight extended edition? And it's like, no. I want to watch that first if I'm going to ever watch it. I don't want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
that was like the first time I rewatched The Lord of the Rings when I got HBO. It was, thank God I noticed it after the end of the Fellowship of the Ring, but it was like, do you want to rewatch The Lord of the Rings but with the extended edition? And I was like, you're fucking kidding me.
Yeah. No, it drives me insane. That's what I can't stand about, man, Zack Snyder movies.
Oh my
Dude,
God. This is going to be probably the most controversial take I've ever had on your show, but I think Zack Snyder is an overrated bitch. He is a one-trick pony, and his one trick is flash cut, slow motion.
Yeah. Okay, so as far as like cinematography goes, he is absolutely fantastic. Like he is,
Yeah.
he really understands what a gorgeous shot looks like, and like when I took that class, I kind of started. I like that aspect of it more now. Like before, I used to watch movies and I'm like, I like this guy or I like this topic or whatever, and now I like watch movies to see like, okay, how is it shot? What's the feel of it and stuff like that. And he has he has enough gorgeous shots to make you keep watching the movie, but everything else is just, what are we doing, man? I don't know. Someone told me recently that I should watch Rebel Moon.
It was such a disappointing movie.
But they were like, watch the extended edition. And so I'm like, fine. All right, maybe the extended edition is better.
It's just boobies for no reason.
Yeah, and very slow motion shots of people harvesting grain. And I'm like,
borderline pornographic levels of detail when they're having the sex in the movie.
It was a bit. I was like, all right. I kind of. I was like, that's not what we're here for.
Like, and Julie and I watched Game of Thrones together, but when I watched that, I was like, I'm just gonna skip this because I don't want her to come in on this. Like,
yeah, I watched Game of Thrones with my wife, and we would always it was always just kind of like an awkward moment. Like whenever that is happening, you're kind of like, so how's your day?
Yeah.
Like what? Dinner was nice. Like you're just like.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back.
We're back. Oh, he's fighting zombies now. Okay, we're good.
Yeah. All right, honey, come back. They're done. Yeah. But it just makes me feel weird. I can't. I don't know. I don't know what this is about me. I don't know what's wrong with me. But I get very uncomfortable with stuff like that when I'm like in public, anywhere. Like I don't understand like how people. If you ever get on a plane and like someone next to you's watching a movie and it's like super like,
oh my god, dude,
and you're just kind of, you're like, I don't like. I mean, I'm not a screen peeker, but at the same time, like you're kind of like, how, you're not embarrassed to watch this like
in public?
Yeah. Like,
no, dude, that's like I went to deer camp and I was expecting to be alone for a week. I got lucky. I got my deer the first weekend, but just out of fear. And like a completely irrational fear, because my cousin's house is like 2 miles away from the bunkhouse where everybody camps at for deer camp. But like I downloaded a bunch of movies off of Netflix and I was screening them for shit that I'd be embarrassed to be watching if my family came in. Like a little bit of neurosis on my end, I guess. But like I told you, it says a lot about me, I guess, for my desert island movies. But I picked The Irishman. I picked fucking Fury and Black Hawk Down.
Fury, I could watch. I would bring to the island.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh, it's time,
it's
dude.
such a good movie. Just,
the Isaiah quote in it goes fucking hard too, and then like the fact that the movie is based on a real tanker and a real tank crew. Their tank was called In the Mood. It was not
War
called
Daddy
Fury.
was a real guy. Yeah.
And they had a tank that they called In the Mood, which is a song that you've heard guaranteed. It's in every 40s movie ever. Look it up. It bangs. But then also The Final Stand was based on Audie Murphy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was.
But Audie Murphy has one of my favorite quotes of like from a veteran. Like it just, to me, it sums up the perfect like clueless reporter mindset, like our civilian mindset of like, why would you, whatever. But somebody said that they read off his Medal of Honor certificate about how he charged like 3 machine gun nests by himself and blew them up with grenades and like, and
then hopped on an M10 or an M110 with a Browning and just held off like 400 Germans by himself.
And people are like, why did you do that? And he's like, they were killing my friends.
Yeah.
It's like why wouldn't I? Yeah, duh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and to me, that's the perfect, like,
yeah, that was,
why do you think I did it? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like that mindset of somebody who'd be like, why would you do that? And it's like, why
wouldn't
wouldn't I
you
do that?
They're gonna kill you if you run.
I might die, but these are my best friends in the world. Why wouldn't I do this? You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna die. Like, I don't know.
That was, so I recently, for 75 Hard, you have to read like nonfiction and self-help.
Mm-hmm.
And that book I was reading outside of Helium when Aaron Spriggs was like, "Oh, you little book boy." I read a story that I actually beat the Fat Electrician to for once, which was really cool. Because I watch all that dude's videos, and it's just like history breakdowns, and he goes through America's
Fat Electrician. I don't know.
Yeah, he just goes through like America's most badass moments. He's like an ex reservist medic, I think, but like he goes through American history's most badass moments, and also some of our dumber moments, like the cheese caves under Springfield.
You're the second person in 24 hours to bring up the cheese caves to me. I have never heard about this in my life. But last night we were outside Helium and Nick Farner was like, well, you heard about the cheese caves, right? And I was like,
Nick might have heard about the cheese caves from me.
I was like, what? He's like, the cheese caves. The government has a cave in Springfield, Missouri that has billions of pounds of cheese in it. He's like, you can go tour it. I mean, not the cheese. You can't tour like the government cheese part, but you can go see it. And I was like, what? Like, what?
Yeah.
Okay, Missouri.
But the story that I beat learning about the Fat Electrician on was the Battle of Lanzareth Ridge, and he gives a pretty damn good breakdown of it, but he leaves out some of the craziest parts of it.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there was a dude who was picked to be an officer, and he was like a college student. It was part of the draft. They started pulling these guys who were an officer candidate school out. He scored top on his marksmanship, and they told him he was going to make a sniper platoon, which was like one of the first ones they ever formed.
Which they're getting rid of, by the way. I don't know if you've heard. Well, at least in the Marines. They're getting rid of scout snipers.
No.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to say something that might get me a little heat. Gay. Like, the scout snipers exist for a reason. They're the reason enemies hide even in their own homes. Well, that and the SEALs, but
Aaron Porter always likes to bring up. He's like, "What? Marsoc? What? Is it leaving? Is it going away?" Like that, just
better fucking not.
I'm like, all right,
so
maybe, I don't know.
He handpicks a squad or a platoon of 25 guys who are all also highest rated marksmen. Mm-hmm. He says, I want my guys to have Springfields who are going to be our like marksmen. I want them to have Springfields. Trains up all of them on those. And he's like 19 years old, and he's commanding dudes who are like 25 and have been in the shit for a while, right? And then he gets a bunch of M1 carbines for his guys, and he's like, no one's using M1 Garands, and he files down the follower on them basically and turns them all into full automatics. And he takes his guys out, and he gets an assignment. This is during the Battle of the Bulge. It was one of the first major pushes during the Battle of the Bulge. And they tell him and his guys that they're going to be doing recon outside of a town called Lanzareth. And they're supposed to be doing recon supporting a tank and artillery battalion in the town. And then one day they hear engines and marching, and they send a guy up, and he comes back and he's like, there's an entire battalion of Germans pushing into us. And they call back to the town, and the guys in the town are like, we're leaving. And they're like, no, we need fire support right now. We're gonna get overrun. This is gonna be fucking terrible. Seriously, you guys cannot leave us. And they're like, no, we have our orders. We're leaving. And they're like, there's no Germans coming. The war's over. So these guys, 27 men, kill 500 Germans.
Yeah, you told me about this.
Yeah. No, they farmed the Germans for XP, and they only lost 2 guys. And I look at our generation now, especially with the potential of World War III on the horizon, and I gotta be honest, Eric, I don't think they could do it.
I don't know.
I think some of them could. I know a few.
I think you'd be surprised.
I know I could
because, well, I think you could. I mean, that's the thing. Like, nobody thinks they can do it.
That's fair.
Until they're in the until you realize you don't have a choice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
A lot of people like just how how people are like, oh, if we have an apocalypse, it's all going to go to shit real fast. It's like, okay, well, the reason they say that is because you don't realize how quickly people will resort to like protecting themselves.
It's a switch flipping.
Yeah, and I heard something the other day. It was the dumbest. It was some podcast. I think it. I can't remember what it was on. I wish I could. But basically the guy was on there and he was talking about how it's like in war, a lot of soldiers actually like kind of shoot in the air because they don't necessarily want to kill anybody. They want. And I was like, that's bullshit. The dumbest thing I've ever heard.
That's bullshit.
There's no way that's true.
No.
There is no way. I guarantee you they are like, if they're shooting in the air, it's because they're bad at shooting. Like, yeah. But everyone's trying their best. No one's half-assing war. You know what I mean? Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. So I think that everybody's like, oh, our generation's soft. Our generation's like, okay, maybe, yeah. But I guarantee you when that moment comes, a switch is going to flip in their brain, and it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter. And it all comes down, it goes back to, chess and checkers and tic-tac-toe. It's all strategy anyway. That's what determines battles. I mean, that and, technology, firepower, stuff like that. But really, when it comes down to the individual person, anybody can
make that switch, you think?
Yeah, because, also think about, all right, we say this generation is soft because they have a million creature comforts, right? Mm-hmm. And we're not used to having a hard day's life and blah, blah, blah. All right. Well, I would argue that people that grew up in Afghanistan had very few creature comforts, lived a very hard, tough, rough life, right? Mm-hmm. We steamrolled them, and continue to do so because that doesn't really play a factor because everybody, you just have to go, the Marine Corps boot camp is the longest boot camp. It's only 3 months.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Huh.
It's the longest out of any boot camp of any of the branches, and it's 3 months. That's how quickly they can switch that flip in you. Now it's not a draft, so people going into the Marines already want that mindset, that thing. If you're dragging people in and forcing them to go through it, it might take longer for that.
And I think that's kind of what I'm getting at is I think if we ever ended up with an actual draft, I think we'd be fine. You think we'd be fine?
I think we'd be fine. I think we'd be. Have you heard you might have been saying this last night. I don't remember, but you've heard about the so Russia asked North Korea to start sending soldiers to Ukraine.
Yes, they got beaten by porn.
Well, yeah, they won't do anything now because they've discovered the internet and immediately got addicted to pornography, which is so funny to me. Because they've been deprived. I mean, so creature comforts you talk about. Okay, well, culture shock. That's a just as equally disabling factor,
Yeah.
So I would argue people who grew up in North Korea had a pretty rough existence. They're a hardcore generation of people, right? But then
now that I think about it, China has very limited internet. I'm much less worried about a world war.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It's not the worst thing.
It's not the worst idea to tell kids hey, you can only be on the internet. I do that as a parent. So I can't really, I kind of wish.
Our kid's not even going to have an iPad until they have to have one for school.
Well, the thing is the school provides laptops. My kids go to a public school, so it's not some super rich, fancy private school. And they're provided with laptops.
Yep.
And it's now I think you have to pay for the insurance on it, which is like $60 or something like that or whatever, but they get a laptop, which is basically, and my son's young, so he started off with a tablet. They kept him in class, but it was still a tablet, and that's how they learn now.
Yeah,
which we had to lug around those giant textbooks.
Mm-hmm. And that's so when I was in school, when I got to middle school, my parents sacrificed a lot to send me to private school, and I was in one of the first schools in St. Louis that was using laptops as like a learning tool. So I didn't just have to lug around those big ass textbooks. I also had to lug around a clanky 2008 laptop.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was loaded down and ready to go anyway, you know.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
No.
And also, I mean, that's where society's heading.
Yeah.
And so that's why I kind of like a little bit of limiting on the technology and be like, hey, you know,
Absolutely.
from this time to this time, you're not allowed to have your phone, tablet, whatever. At night when, you know, so the way we do stuff is like we have like a bedtime where everybody gets like, you know, tucked in. Not my daughter. My daughter's.
Yeah, she's
like, see ya. We're like,
Yeah.
good night.
Enjoy your evening.
But my son still wants the bedtime. You know, he doesn't even get tucked in really.
Yeah.
He just like he wants us to go in there and like get him water and stuff like that. Anyway, and then they have like an hour and a half where it's like you time.
Yeah.
You get to do what you want. You know what I mean? But then at that hour and a half is when we like, all right, good night.
Yep.
You have to surrender your iPad,
Lights
surrender
off.
the cell phone, the TV, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
You time is over, time for sleep. And we need you to just you sleep without your tablet, without your electronic device. And then when they come home, there's a period of time where it's like no. None of this.
Yeah,
okay? We're going to take some time to just be in the world.
Yeah, if you need non-social time, you read. Like,
yeah, and actually my daughter reads quite a bit, and she loves reading. She goes through books all the time.
yeah,
My son he loves to read like facts is what he's into. He loves a book of facts or he'll read on his iPad. So I mean, I guess I'm kind of contradicting myself, but we'll give it to him for that, for learning purposes. I'm just saying that when I found out China like doesn't let their kids use the internet except for a couple times, you know, like, or you get 3 hours at night. I'm like, good, because I know so many people that just let their kids play online games.
Have you seen the videos
all day long,
of parents taking away Cocoa Melon from 3-year-olds?
No, I have seen the video of people taking away the iPads from toddlers, and and
they just have like
But also, you're gonna learn this because you're a dad soon.
Yeah,
that's just toddlers.
Oh, I know.
It happens with cups. My son threw a fit one time because I didn't want him to have a paper towel, you know, like anymore. It was dirty, and he like picked it up, and I was like, no, that's dirty. I'm taking it, and I threw it away. Huge reaction because that's just what they do. You know what I mean? So it doesn't necessarily mean that kid is addicted to their screen. It also could just be a kid. You know what I mean? So
Saint Augustine had one of the hardest quotes of all time, and that is, children are the most, like, not like children, but like baby children, like up to toddlers, are basically like the most evil people on earth because they haven't been taught morality yet. And so to them, taking away something like in that moment, if they could kill you, they would.
Well, I don't even know if it's a thing about being taught. I think it's just a self-awareness thing.
Yeah.
And it's like your brain isn't developed. Like as a baby, you realize like when a baby's born, can't see color yet.
Yeah.
And then that develops like 2-3 weeks in, you know, and then, you know, your brain develops to learn how to like control your legs. And then like, I think they say it, maybe a year and a half, 2 years, you become self-aware of like, I want this. Yeah. I want you know,
more chicken nuggets.
Yeah. I like you become, and you don't learn to think about other people until you get a little bit older, and then you're like, oh, I want them to be happy too, you know, and then you realize like as you get older, you're like you hopefully start to prioritize other people's feelings over your own. Most people are like that. Some people are not. Most of those people are comedians. You know what I mean? I've talked to so many people that oh man, I wish I could get into specifics, but I had somebody the other night that was telling me something like, and so got da 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 da, and I was just like, okay. And they're like,
Tight.
what do you think about that? I'm like, I think we're both a little bit jealous, but
Yeah.
What am I
Good for them.
Good for
Like,
them. They got it. Will
Yeah.
okay, like yeah. I would have liked to have gotten that, but I didn't. So,
Yeah.
it works. It happens.
A rising tide raises all ships is my attitude about most things in comedy. And every time I hear one of my friends get something dope, I'm like, fucking awesome, man. I'm really proud of you.
Well, I don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, it's just it's also it's fun and funny to talk shit sometimes.
Yeah.
So I understand that aspect of it, and I'm definitely guilty of being like this,
Yeah.
hey, I've done that from time to time, but at the same time, like when it comes to like working and doing actual things to like
Yeah.
move your career forward, like let's work together. Let's all, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's just be better. It would all be better. The shows would all be better. The city, the scene, which
Yeah.
I kind of hate saying that, but
Yeah.
it would all be better.
Not
And
to
isn't-
jerk off our city too much, but honestly, in the last, because I've been at this off and on for like 8 years. This is like I think this is like the longest period of time I've gone without like a real break, just because life starts happening and life do be life and
Life do be lifing, dude.
Dude.
Man.
But like I think, and I'll give credit to Ronaldo on this one. I remember talking with him one night at the Heavy Anchor of all places, and he said, "Dude, we've got an opportunity here for the first time in like 5 years, where most of the people who are really cliquey and shitty to each other are gone, and we've got nights now where there's just openings for open mics, and I want people to start opening up open mics, and we need to actually go to them and support them."
Yeah.
And it happened.
People are doing it
Yeah.
all. Like there's a lot of
It's-
things that are opening up and
Yeah.
doing stuff.
In the last 8 years, this is like the best the scene has ever been for comedy. And we've had randoms come from out of town and even say they like our scene now, which is crazy.
I know. And I've been saying this for years that I think St. Louis is a great place to do comedy because there's not a ton of comics here. And we have 3 great clubs, plus hundreds of
venues.
bar mics and shows. Like the Flyover Festival alone is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like I know you were out of town this year during it, but it was so much fun. I wasn't even on the festival, but I just went to go hang out. It was such a good time.
After
You know what I
talking
mean?
to you and talking to Chris and a few other people next year, because the thing with Flyover and the reason I never even submit for it is deer season puts food in my freezer, and it's always the second weekend in November, which is also opening weekend for deer season. So like next year, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on Friday night to the like networking hangout kind of thing, because I've heard that it's just like a great hang in general.
Yeah, it's
because
just fun.
it's just comedians being comedians with
Yeah.
comedians. And that's something that I definitely want to experience for sure. And then I'll just either stay up all night and go straight to deer camp at like 3 a.m. or stay into Monday, and go on Saturday afternoon. Like,
Yeah. It's just a fun time. But the whole point is that everybody there is just talking about, whatever. First of all, you're just hanging out, having fun, or you can talk bits with people and like have people help you write tags and like, hey, have you ever thought about trying it like this from this angle or whatever?
yeah, it's like
And you
the
just-
giant circle, basically.
Yeah,
the smoke
yeah,
circle.
the giant circle. Yeah. I was like,
the giant. It's
took
just
me
like
a second.
giant
I was like,
smoke
I got
circle.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's really what it is. But you're doing it. You're also doing it with comics from other cities and other towns and stuff like that. But also the very few, I've gotten to do a couple clubs in other cities, and that's what you do when you're there. There's always comics hanging around a club, and you can just talk and you just make a connection. And then you're like, hey, oh, where are you from? I'm from Memphis. You're like, oh, cool. I've been wanting to go down there. Is there anything going on? They're like, well, if you come down on a Thursday, I run a show, blah, blah, blah. I give you some, that's how it works.
Yep.
And Most of the like shows that I get booked on the road aren't because clubs are like, oh, we have to have you. It's because other comics are like, dude, I'd love to have you on this show. And I'm like, great. And then you go down there and you make more connections and more connections.
Yeah. That was
the
last time Schaefer and Chris went to Texas. That was like Schaefer was telling me about it. He's like, we went down there because I knew Fiona and Matt. And then he's like, we did one show with Matt and Fiona Cawley. And then all of a sudden, Chris had offers to do shows later, and I had offers to do shows later, and we just ended up staying a week. And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, I know. See, I know Matt from going to Nashville. My buddy Michael lives down there.
Okay.
And
Michael's the guy who's been on before, right?
Yeah, he's been on a couple times.
Yeah, you did a Zoom episode with him, didn't you?
Yeah, just to try it out, see if I could do it. And it was actually a lot harder than I expected. I had to keep going back and forth. It was a mess, but I'm working on getting better at that so I can do long range stuff. But it's all networking. It's all fun. It's all.
And that was the thing. That was like how I got to know Matt. Was he was in town for something, and we went to Uncle John's Triple R for Anti-Bar.
Yeah.
And I ended up just talking with him for like an hour. And that's the thing too, man. Like, to anybody considering getting into comedy wherever you're at, do it.
I can't underestimate how important it is to just hang out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to get drunk. You don't have to like do drugs. You don't have to. It's not malicious or anything bad like that.
If you say you're sober,
just hang.
Yeah.
Like just be around and be fun
and
to
be
talk
yourself.
to. Because when you book a show, you book it based on like, not only like, hey, are you good on stage? You know, can you do well on the show? But also like, are you cool, dude?
Yeah.
You know, like, can I hang with you? Are you going to be fun to be around? Because if you're not, well then why would I want you there? You know, like unless you are bringing 1,000 people to see you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
That's the thing too. You're gonna earn it based on effort and merit 90% of the time.
Right.
People always talk about industry plants. I don't believe in industry plants when it comes to comedy because every time I've seen it tried, those people suck. Like.
Yeah. I've never experienced anything like that, but I don't even know of any. I don't know. I don't even know where
I
one
can't
would
think
be.
of one example, honestly.
It's like, hey guys, be careful. At Steve's Hot Dogs, Netflix's Booker is there tonight.
Yeah,
it's like no, probably not. No. Yeah. Shout out Steve's. Not talking. I'm just You were the first name that came to mind.
Yeah. Hey guys, the Don't Tell Comedy is sending a Booker to Stan's tonight.
Yeah. Hey guys, bring your A game.
Yeah.
To Spine Bookstore because Martin Scorsese's there.
Tuesday night at Stan's was so fucking wild for me, dude. We had, I host the beginning of it while Jack's doing the Funny Bone
things, and
it was 10 o'clock, which is like normally the hard start, and I was still the only comic there, and I was just talking to Kenny, and Oliver, the girl with the pink hair who goes to Blue Strawberry and plays music.
Kind of, yes, very.
So she brought 3 friends, and that meant that we had the biggest crowd we've ever had at Stan's. and Jack was like, "I'm on my way," and he's like, "Is anybody there yet?" And I was like, "No, but we've got the biggest crowd I've ever seen."
Look, I know that we just got done talking about how great St. Louis comedy scene is, all right, and then we immediately proceeded to talk about a show with
4 people
in it. That's not every show, okay? Yeah. But Stan's is designed. It's a late night. Yeah. Tuesday night.
It is meant to be a grinder. It's meant to
be if your joke sucks, you're going to find out there.
Yeah.
If it's good, that's where you find out like, oh, this has legs. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I got a couple laughs.
You can get a good rotation of comedy doing 3 nights a week if you play it right. Like when I first got back in, all I could get was 3 nights a week of free time where I didn't have stuff going on. And so I would do a shitty mic like the one I run. Shout out Stans. I love that bar. Please don't cancel us. But like I would do like a shitty mic with nobody there whatsoever. And then I would do a mic where I knew there was going to be a crowd, which was the heavy anchor. Even though the crowd hated me there, you do the new jokes, see if they're going to suck. Plug the ones that work into a set, and then you try and go to a club mic and get like 5 minutes at a club where you know there's a crowd, where you know you're going to find out if what you're doing is going to work in a club. And it's not a perfect system, but
yeah,
for
that's one thing that is really, really, really hard when you're starting off is how to get in the sets, how to make the time, because it's not, it sounds like, oh, you have to make time to go hang out with your friends. It's like, yeah, but also I have a whole life, like as a husband and soon to be a dad, you'll realize, oh man, it really sucks being gone all the time,
Yeah.
and it's hard. But when my goal is 7 to 10 sets a week. Damn. 7 to 10, I know. And it is not, a lot of times I don't make it. I'll get 5 or I get 6. This week, actually, I think when I totaled it up, I'm going to get 7, actually. So I was pretty excited about that. But still, it's 7 to 10, just because it's like I want to try a new bit. I want to be able to practice the old stuff. Mm-hmm. And then, you're always, it's like, I don't know how to, it's always like trying to like iron something that constantly wrinkles. Yep. You know what I mean? Like you have to just keep going over it, or it's going to be like, wait, how did that go? What is it? What comes next? Like, where do I put the inflection? Where do I do this facial feature? Where do I record yourself? Yeah, like, and then you just listen over and over and over and over and over. And I say 7 to 10 because at least 7 is then like, that would be like if you did one every night, if you did it every single day. And that's not always possible. Like when you live in a small town, I know lots of comics who are from a small town and they don't have the opportunity to get up 7 times a week. They can drive to the city 2-3 nights maybe and do a set. And then the rest of the time, there is nothing, Dude,
JJ Jackson comes up from freaking Farmington.
Yeah, and one of the things that he does is he practices in front of the mirror, which is, nothing substitutes actual stage time in front of a crowd. Yep. But why not practice? Think about, like, if you want to get those 10,000 hours in, if you want to be one of the greats, if you want to be the Tom Brady or whatever. Yes, Tom Brady probably has 10,000 hours of play time. Yeah. But before he got that, he also had time spent studying game film and stretching and dieting and like everything he could to make himself better. Mm-hmm. Like, and that goes into the same with comedy. Like 10,000, you need like writing, thinking about a bit, practicing in front of the mirror, saying it out loud in the car. Like, where's the pause come? Where's the inflection go? Is this funnier like this or like this? Yeah. Just thinking about it. You're going to realize how quickly you can add up to those 10,000 hours. So that way when you get on stage, you lose that like nervous, I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. I can just do this.
That was like one of the things that I do. So even when I was on breaks, I would start to get the itch.
Oh, yeah.
You get the itch, and then I'd be like playing video games with my buddies, and I'd be running all of the jokes I wrote on the break with my buddies. And even still, when I think of a new joke, I text it to like my high school friends group chat, because I know if something sucks, one of them's just gonna tell me boo.
Yeah, and you'll realize it gets hard to like get that in. Like last week was Thanksgiving, and so I hosted at Helium Wednesday night, drove straight home, got up the next morning, did Thanksgiving, and then my kids were home the whole weekend. So I was with them, and then we had something to do Monday night and something to do Tuesday night. So I didn't make it back up here till like Wednesday, and it had been a full week, and I was like, ooh. Yeah. I was like itchy, I was like, do I know how to do this? Like, and I was like super nervous before I went on stage because I was like, how do I do this again? That's right. Okay, that's right. Yeah. Well, all right, I got it.
The other big thing to remember too is that like 7 out of your 10 sets are gonna suck. It's just making sure your sets aren't sucking when they matter.
Like, it's just throwing. I mean, again, it's like creating content. When you're writing new material, you're just throwing out an idea and seeing if it sticks. And then you're like, well, you try it 3 or 4 times. If it bombs, then you move on, or save it for later when you can figure it out. Because there's a lot of premises that I have in my notes that I think are funny that I could never get anyone else to laugh at. You know what I mean?
I got a few of those.
Yeah. I just, what do you think your best premise is? Well, I know one. I know one that you try, and I can see where you're going with it, but it's dark. So
is it the one about me getting diddled?
Yes, that is exactly the one I was talking about. So maybe we save that.
See, I have one buddy who appreciates it, and he tells me every time he comes out to see me, he goes, "Why don't you do that joke?" And I was like, because when I tell that joke, I get to laugh about it, and it makes me feel better. But the whole crowd just feels sorry for me and doesn't laugh at anything else I say the rest of the night.
That's kind of why I don't like bringing it. I really don't like bringing up the veteran thing on stage because people they take it the wrong way. And like Jack told me last night, he's like, when you bring up being a veteran and then people clap and you get uncomfortable, that's like a girl who has really big boobs showing off her really big boobs and then being like, please stop talking about it. It's like, obviously we're going to talk about it, And I'm like, that's why I don't like doing it, because it's like, I have to tell you I'm a veteran so then I can make fun of veterans. You know what I mean? Because like, if you just start going hard on veterans, then people are like, hey, this guy doesn't like the troops. It's like, no, I am the troops. Like
you're literally the troops.
I can do this. Like it's okay. I have a pass.
That's I know the other premise that I try that I will only throw in if I know no one in the crowd is listening. If there's like nobody in the crowd and nobody is listening, or I'm already bombing and I'm just going to dig a hole, I talk about that shooting in Las Vegas.
Oh gosh, you just get into the specifics of how it's
no. I talk about how much I hate modern country music.
You take the opposite stance. You're like,
as a
okay, made me laugh.
As a country music fan, I kind of get that guy because I fucking hate Jason Aldean too.
Yeah. Horrific news, mass shooting at a country concert. It's like, but in his defense,
it was Jason Aldean.
imagine you're trying to sleep in a hotel and there's a Jason Aldean concert outside.
Yeah,
I'd be a little irritated.
How many times is he gonna talk about back roads and trucks? God damn it!
Don't do a concert outside of a hotel. Try that in a small town, Jason. All right. Well, we've done an hour and a half, man. I appreciate you coming in. You want to plug any your social media? And we already talked about.
Yeah, we did the social media up front. Yep. Yeah. Stan's Bar every Tuesday night. Show's supposed to start at 9:30. I'd say come at 10, and we'll be going.
Yep.
Right now, that's actually pretty much all I got going. Things on the horizon on my YouTube channel. I might be trying my hand at doing Let's Plays because I have the equipment to record it. For the people who don't know what that is, basically, I'm going to play a video game and try to be funny while I narrate it.
That's what I thought. Because earlier I was like, don't you have a Twitch? But no, gotcha.
I'm playing the most realistic video game I've ever played. How realistic, Eric? So realistic that if I hit someone in the plates, they don't go down. As a gamer, that hurts your soul a little bit. But yeah, no.
The most realistic game I've ever played. It's like, what is it? It's like Super Mario Kart.
No,
like,
dude, you gotta manage hunger, sleep, water. If you get cut by something and you don't treat it, you bleed out. It's terrible, but it's so fun, and I can't stop playing it. And it's also set in Russia, and I do a pretty good Russian accent, so that might be something.
People are just going to think this is like really bad drone footage or something.
Yeah, exactly. That's the
like,
goal.
This doesn't really look real, but I mean, it could be.
Wait, there's actual mutants in the Chernobyl exclusion zone? What?
You pass a bunch of North Koreans, they're just glued to their phone.
They're just sitting there. What you looking at, buddy? Porn?
Yeah. Those are the banners that we would walk into battle with. You know, it's just naked women on them like that, but waving flags of just like boobs on it, you know, and they're just like, We won. We won.
won.
They literally put down their weapons.
They put down their weapons and they fell prostrate at the altar of who's a popular one? Ruby Rose. I have a joke about my daughter's name being Ruby.
Nice.
Yeah. No,
Nice.
that's a popular one.
Yeah, start her off well. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know what the lady looks like, but I've heard the name enough. Like, all right, but yeah, we should probably cut it here.
Okay. Forgot. We did the social media, we did the plugs, we did everything. All right.
Yeah.
That's it. Thanks, everybody. See you next week.